When Alice Marie Johnson began serving her sentence, she was told that she would not leave prison until she was carried out as a corpse. She'd been given life for her crimes, and while behind bars, she saw life pass her by. The birth of her grandkids, the deaths of her parents. For years, Alice saw appeal after appeal denied, until her case got the attention of an unlikely champion.
I made a very, very bad mistake.
Alice Marie Johnson went from a law-abiding citizen to federal inmate after she was arrested for nonviolent participation in a drug conspiracy. She was sentenced to life plus 25 years without the possibility of parole. Alice had no reason to hope, yet she still did. In her memoir, Afterlife, Alice shares how her faith sustained her for more than 2 decades in prison, and how Kim Kardashian West took her fight for freedom straight to the Oval Office.
Well, we welcome Alice Marie Johnson to the 700 Club. It's great to have you here.
It is an honor to be here today, Terry.
Alice, in 1987, you were going through a tough time in your life. You were going through a divorce. You were in a tough place financially, and then you met a guy named Ted. How did he impact your life?
My whole life was changed forever with one meeting.
Yeah.
I became involved in gambling, and I had a gambling addiction. I never thought that my life would take a turn like this. After a visit from a cousin out of Texas, well, let me back up just a little bit, Terry, please. After I got involved in gambling, that led to the loss of my job. I lost my job. I had been a manager with FedEx. I had worked for them for 10 years. I was a normal citizen.
Yes.
Never expected this to happen to me. And after I lost my job, I struggled financially. I was raising 5 children as a single mother. I was divorced in 1989. And my husband gave me absolutely no support. There was a period in my life, Terry, that if I could go back and change it, the decisions I made, I would. But I was under a lot of pressure, a lot of stress with bills coming in. My house was being foreclosed on. My car had been repossessed. I could barely even pay my utility bills or put food on the table for my children.
Wow.
And when I was presented with what some might call an opportunity, but that would be the beginning of the end for me, for life as I knew it for almost 22 years. I was asked to be a telephone mule, an information mule, where I would pass the numbers between parties who were selling drugs. I never sold or used drugs. And
So you were giving them information on who wanted them, who was seeking them?
No, only phone numbers. I didn't know the people who wanted them. I didn't know the people who were, I knew the phone numbers. And that's what they do oftentimes. They'll make sure that they find someone who's not under the radar for the police, because they would never think to check your number. So they call and they would give me their number. I called the next person, they'd answer the phone, and I didn't even have to call them by name. I would say, call this number.
Wow. Eventually, the police caught you. Did you realize the magnitude of what you had done?
No, no. I never knew that a life sentence was even on the table. I didn't think that you could get a life sentence. I knew I had committed a crime, so I'm not trying to say that I didn't deserve some type of punishment, but a life plus 25 years without the possibility of parole. I was offered 3 to 5 years. I went to trial, a 6-week trial. I was convicted, and 6 months later, I stood before the judge, and life plus 25 years without parole.
Why didn't you plea bargain?
I had an attorney who told me that I had such a good case. No drugs, no money. In fact, he presented to the jury, where's the beef?
Wow.
And he told me that he felt that we could win and don't take the plea. It's the charges that were being presented against me. And also, I was given a very, what I call a low bond. The ones who testified against me, none of them could get bonds because they all had criminal records, and they had a lot to gain by making me their boss and testifying against me.
Wow. The day you were convicted and given this sentence, it was the day before your son's 20th birthday.
Yes.
I understand. What was that day like for you?
The day that I was convicted, my son, we had planned on celebrating his birthday the next day because birthdays were so important to my children. That was the one day I tell them, that's your day. You don't have to share. It's not like Christmas or other things. It's your special day. And I turned around and I connected. And I thought about him so much that night, about the plans that we had made to celebrate. Instead, we were in a state of mourning.
Wow. You were given this horrific sentence that is harsh under any circumstances, but you always felt like you would be released. Where did that hope come from?
It was only my faith in God. During my time in prison, I knew that the Lord was with me. I was raised in a Christian home, but I went astray. I was pregnant and married at 15 years old.
Wow.
But I still had my foundation was still there. And when I went to prison, I fell on my knees and I asked the Lord, if you can use me, I'm available. Wow. Lord, please give me another chance with you. I didn't do the things that I did in prison because I was trying to get out of jail. It wasn't jailhouse religion. I picked up a Bible in that county jail and I could understand it. Yeah. Because previously I'd only read King James Version. But this was a free on the inside, an NIV Bible. And all of a sudden the Word of God opened up to me. And I could understand it. I read that Bible over, and I loved it. I love the Word of God. And that is what brought change in my life, because now I've got the Word of God that is implanted down upon me. I not only know about Jesus, he's so personal to me now. And I started being able to do incredible things in prison. He gave me favor with the staff. Other women there would see me with my Bible, and they started asking me questions about the Bible. And I started doing Bible study. I started, as I say, I wrote plays. I wrote faith-based plays mainly. And I found ways that women could be lifted up by realizing what they could do. Now they find that they can act. I'm choreographing dance. I'm doing things for the prison staff. I'm putting programs together.
It's like you came to life while you were in there.
I absolutely did.
So let me interrupt you for a moment and ask you, how in the world, in that scenario, you came to be connected with Kim Kardashian?
I did a video op-ed. I'd spoken at different platforms. We had gotten video chat in the prison. I've spoken at Yale University. I spoke at New York University, the University of Seattle and Washington, Hunter's College.
What did you speak on?
I spoke on, at that time, I was fighting for clemency. And so I started speaking about the need for clemency, the need to reunite families, the need for mercy.
Yes.
I've always said, as the Word of God says, justice triumphs over mercy. And that the laws needed to change. And there was a person in the audience who heard me speak, and he was able to get in contact with me and asked me if I'd do a video op-ed. And I did, and it went viral. Kim Kardashian saw it, and she tweeted out, "This is so unfair." And she wanted to help me become free. She hired, her lawyer got in touch with me, Sean Holly, and told me only that a very rich and famous woman had asked her to reach me to find out if I wanted her to help me gain my freedom. I didn't have to think about it. Just like, yes. And I didn't know who it was. And I really thought it was Kris Jenner. And I had my daughter Google Sean Holly to find out who she was and who her clients were, so I could figure out who this rich and famous woman was. And she said, "Maybe it's Kim Kardashian, Mama." And I said, "Kim who?" I didn't know who Kim was.
So how did it come about? We've just got a little bit of time left.
Okay, I'll tell you very quickly. She hired a team, she assembled a team of attorneys. She contacted Ivanka Trump. Ivanka put her in touch with Jared Kushner, and they started trying to arrange for Kim to get an audience with the president. And Kim got that audience on my birthday, May 30th. And she went to the White House. They vetted my case very closely. Kim presented from a standpoint of my accomplishments in prison and the human side, how long I had been gone for a first-time offense. And Sean Hawley presented a compelling legal argument before the president. 7 days later, I was running across the road into freedom.
Unbelievable. We have just skimmed the surface because Alice Marie's story is amazing. I mean, you just need to read the book. It's called Afterlife, which is available in stores nationwide. Find out more about what it was like for her to come free after how many years and days?
21 years, 7 months, and 6 days. Really, my story is more than just a story that speaks about the need for prison reform. It's my life story. It's my memoir. It's a story of hope, of faith, of perseverance, and also the redeeming power of Jesus Christ.
Mercy trumps justice.
Yes, it does.